you said, I grew up in a small community, a village in Ghana, specifically in Nzema. And I have always been intrigued, especially as I've lived in the city in Ghana and then moved over to North America. I have been so intrigued by the resilience, the strength, the sacrifice of those women. And so I knew that I had to write about them, and I had to write it from a perspective of someone who's lived with them, who's grown up, like it's a product of the place, known them intimately, and also heard of them. And I needed to first tell their stories. And also, there's the narrative that comes, especially in the Western media, about the African woman, mostly the rural women, are one of helplessness, of hunger, of dejection. And I am trying here to show them the real African woman. And also, some of us have traveled, and our children are losing that kind of connection with the people, where they came from. This is more like a memory scroll for them, so that both my children and other children of African descent, either in the diaspora or even at home in the cities, can connect with the African woman, the rural woman that is like the genesis of all of us. And as these women are dying off, that generation of women are dying off, this is more like my tribute to them. So a lot of things went into the making of Maame. Definitely. They say that it takes a village to raise a child, right? And so in that community setting, everybody's child is everybody's child. So your child goes out to go play. You are not worried, because you know that if there's something happening, someone will take care of it. If your child gets in trouble, and he's the one, or he or she is the one causing the trouble, he or she will get rebuked, and someone will take care of it. So that community, that readiness to step in and help one another, that is something that we must never lose. I like to think that that would be a who, because she's seen life from the way it was, right? She had certain expectations that as a girl, this is the most I can get to, and so let me do my duty, and then get done with it. But then when she meets a circumstance that gets her questioning some of the things that she has accepted, she doesn't just take it and sit there, right? She does something about it. And through that, she's able to change not just the fortunes of her own family, but then by letting her daughter get to the way that she got, she's coming back to this society and probably give Princess Yaba a run for her money. But so I think she carries the community, and she is like the bridge between what was and then what becomes of these women in the society. So I would have married someone in Akonu. I would have preferred to have married someone in Akonu. Sambuma was not too bad either, except that girls in Akonu did not like to marry strangers. And I put strangers in inverted commas. Who in Akonu did not know the story of the young woman who went away with a stranger and almost never made it? She was a very beautiful girl and refused all suitors from her own village, and even the neighboring ones. Simple and learned, rich and poor, young and old, she refused them all. Neither her parents nor anyone else could convince her to accept someone. She became known as a snob. It turned out that a python heard about her and decided to teach her a lesson. It changed itself into a handsome young man and visited her village. He met a girl at the edge of the river as she was drawing water. She was so smitten by his looks that she accepted to marry him right away. She could not wait for him to pay her bride price. Her parents advised her to wait until she knew more about him, but she refused. When they would not accept her bride price, which he finally offered because it was too low, she threw the money at them and ran off with him. As they journeyed through the forest, the path kept closing behind them. They walked for 3 days, during which the nice and handsome stranger changed completely in his behavior. He would not wait for her to catch up and only responded to her with grunts and monosyllables. The farther they journeyed, the more irritable he became. On the 3rd day, he stopped by a small stream and asked her to wait for him. When he emerged, he was not a handsome young man she had followed, but a mean-looking python. She was terrified, but there was nowhere for her to go. The python started to swallow her. She begged and screamed for help, but there was no one else around. He had almost swallowed her when out of nowhere flew an arrow. It hit the snake and killed it. It had been shot by a hunter from her village, whom she had previously refused to marry. He was in the bushes nearby when he heard her screams. He helped her to get back home, where she narrated her scary ordeal to all. I think the flow would be similar because I tend to think in Nzema and then translate into English. So it would be similar. Even when you look at the songs and all that and the translation of it, you see that it's almost along the same lines. I started reading Nzema Bible like in class 4 or something until I left for secondary school. I was the champion reader in my village. So yeah, I'm quite proficient in it. I would love that we can get this translated, but I wanted a story, to be available to a broader population. So starting it off in English is a good starting point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take the environmental activism first. Like you can see throughout my book, River Mansley is always it's always on my heart. Every time I see a picture of it, I'm just done. So then I saw a picture of the the Abe Lagoon over in Jawe Wharf, and it made me cry. And since that day, it's like 2 months ago, I saw that picture. I haven't rested. That is what drove me into all of this. Like, how can we sit there and allow this to happen? We shouldn't, because we cannot replace these things. These are more than the money. Whatever money we think we're going to get from whatever actions we're doing, they cannot take care of one kilometer of those rivers that we are wasting away and we are destroying. So yeah, that's something that I'm not gonna sleep. I'm not gonna drop it until we actually get the message and change this. It doesn't help us. And it's unfortunate that our desire to, I don't know if our now moving away from our traditional beliefs has anything to do with it. But if that is what it is, we are worse off than we were before. Now, when it comes to the foundation, it was something that I had to do with my family because I came to have a baby in Ghana. Like I have my first 3 children in Ghana and everything went so well. I don't have any issues with it. But then when last time I went to have a child in 2009, and I almost lost my life. And it wasn't because, this was a dilapidated hospital with no with no equipment. There was everything, and yet it was a mess. So that was what drove us into setting up this foundation. Then we realized that people go through all of this, but they can't talk about it because it's like, if you talk about it, you won't be able to have any more children. or this, or they would even say that it's the mother-in-law, some elderly woman sitting somewhere who killed your baby, when actually you know what happened when you went to the hospital. So the foundation is to give these women a voice, and also to make sure that when these things happen, we probe into what's behind it, and then hopefully get some of these institutions to change their behaviors. Recently, whenever we go home, we do like a community health check, health screening, and those kinds of things, just to help also the women in the people in those areas to take care of their health and be mindful of like taking good care of their health. So that's like I've been into these advocacy things because like some things cannot just be left and then given to God and no, it doesn't have to be like that.